to my YouTube channel at the Zipperfoot. I'm here today to talk to you about my 1 year in sewing. I started sewing in March 2018 and here we are in March 2019 already. Can't believe it. It's been an absolute whirlwind of a year and just incredible. I thought it would be a bit of fun if I just talked to you about 5 of my favourite makes across the last year. My favourite patterns, what I liked about the sew, what I found tricky. So yes, I'll kick it all off. I'm going to start with Tilly and the Buttons and the Bettine. This was the first pattern that I ever bought and oh my gosh, did it set me off on a journey. I bought this from at Make 140, which is my local fabric shop, and I built the fabric there as well actually. I'm just thinking, yeah, I did buy the fabric there as well. And I got so excited. I came home, I'd sewn a few totes and things like that, but never a dressmaking pattern. So I got straight to work, cut everything out and started to sew the pattern. I ended up getting a bit stuck around the pocket area, and so I called my mum in the end and she came to the rescue and helped me with the pockets. I did find those a little bit tricky, but it was my first ever sew on my own. I've got the dress here to show you. I will put a photo up on the screen so you can see what the dress looks like when it's on as well. I did do some video recordings for Instagram, which you can see me wearing the item and talking about it, and they are over on my IGTV on Instagram. They're recorded in portrait, so I can't put them on YouTube without you getting those irritating sort of black screens either side. So Tilly and the Buttons, that was my first pattern. I now own around 12 Tilly patterns. I find them absolutely brilliant. They're really, really thorough, and they come with a picture guide that's all in colour. So if you're, you know, getting stuck or anything like that, I just think it's a really comprehensive guide, and it really shows you well and explains clearly each step of the make. Perfect for beginners. There are a range of patterns, you know, beginners, intermediate, so you can kind of choose the standard that you're at. This one is a beginner's pattern, and you can actually make this one without the pockets. So if you are just starting straight out, I would recommend that you just go for this version here without the pockets, because I did get a little bit stuck there. You might not, of course. So I have got the dress here just to show you. This is it. So that's what it looks like in the fabric that I made it in. I absolutely love it. I put it in my top 5 because it's a sentimental dress to me. It's the first ever dress I made, obviously, and there's a lot of love sewn into there. There's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of lessons. One of the biggest lessons being always wash your fabric before you get to work on your dress, because obviously I've washed it since and it's now probably a little bit smaller than it started out, but that's fine. That's a lesson learnt. It's in my top 5, as I say, because it's sentimental. The first dress I ever made. I will own it for as long as it fits me. I absolutely love it. I do need to make another Bettine. I haven't made one since because I've just been so excited with all the other patterns, so become very, very carried away. So yes, that's it. It's not really much else to say about that one. It's not a difficult pattern to make if you are starting out and looking to make a dress as a beginner. It's a perfect starting point, so you can't go wrong with a Tilly and the Buttons pattern. The second dress that I'm going to talk to you about is the Avid Seamstress Day dress. This is my favourite pattern to date. I absolutely love it. I've made it 3 times and it is just incredible. I really do love it. It's a great make. It's not simple. It is quite it's not advanced either. It's kind of in the middle, you know, so confident beginner or an intermediate kind of pattern. I don't know if it says on here. Anyway, I made this last summer, and I made a practice run in kind of August time, and I made this one in September. I was going to the handmade fair, and my partner at the time had given me this beautiful Robert Kaufman neon neppy fabric, and I wanted to make something really special with it. I had a couple issues getting the fit right on the bodice, so with the first one it was just a little bit big. So I simply downsized the bodice and kept the waist the same, because the fit on the waist here is actually quite good. And because it's a gathered waist, it didn't matter too much that I was using a smaller bodice. It went together fine. This now fits like an absolute glove. I'll pop a picture on so you can see. It's really, really gorgeous. I love the detail at the front of the dress. There are 3 options, as you can see there. You can make a button front, just have a plain front so there's no seam or anything, or you could have a seam down the front. This dress has made my top 5 because, oh my gosh, it had such an incredible response from everyone over on Instagram. You know, people were so kind about it. And then Lisa, the founder of the Avid Seamstress, actually commented on that post as well. And I remember being completely mind blown that she had left a comment. And it was so lovely. And I remember it being the first time that I thought, oh my gosh, you know what? I think I'm actually okay at sewing. You know, I'm going to be able to do this. So it really instilled some confidence within me to go forward and keep pushing my boundaries and keep pushing for a harder sew, and to see, you know, where my boundaries are, what I would be able to achieve. It's been really, really good. I've loved this pattern, and I just know that there'll be more versions of it for me to come. In fact, I've got some fabric upstairs that I know is ready and waiting for when I'm good to make another one of these. You do need a bit of time. You need a good free bit of time to be able to whip one of these up properly. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it really. The guide within this one is, again, it's absolutely brilliant. Oh my gosh, this is in a right old higgledy-piggledy from where I've made it previously. All my pattern pieces are in there. Very much like Tilly's. So you get a really nice comprehensive guide. And the great thing about the Avid Seamstress is you get loads of hints and tips. So if you do get stuck, the tips in here, I'm not going to be able to find one now. So there's like buttonholes, and then it goes into a big spiel about buttonholes, like prior to actually getting to the point where you need to sew them. And there's a really good part on here, when it comes to sewing the zip. It's really, really well explained. I love the Avid Seamstress. I've made a few of her patterns now, and they're brilliant. I cannot recommend these enough. So if you haven't had one on your list, make sure you put one on. Ideally this one. It's brilliant. I love it. Let's pop that to one side for a minute, and I'll show you the next dress. Okay, dress number 3 is the Deer and Doe Magnolia dress. I made this dress last summer, and it was not long after the pattern was released actually that I made it. I saw it, I loved it, I felt like it was within my capabilities, and so I thought I'd give it a go. I'd made quite a few Deer and Doe patterns at that point, so I kind of knew what their instruction guides were like, how I found their patterns, how they fit. So I bought it and I went straight for it. I just made it in the size that I've made the previous patterns. I bought some really reasonable crepe from Sew Me Sunshine, from Harriet at Sew Me Sunshine. And I did that because I'm really bad at twirling patterns. I just get stuck straight in. So I'd almost rather make a wearable twirl than not, you know, have one made out of muslin or something. I know that's wrong. I know it's really bad, but that's just me, and it's a personal preference thing. This fits really well. I'll pop a photo up in the screen so you can see it. I absolutely love it. beautiful. It's got a real 70s vibe about it. I think you could probably make it quite relaxed for the summer, you know, just an evening dress, or just like almost like a maxi dress, or you could make it really, really smart. I have actually made it for the dressmakers ball this year, so I have put a picture on my Instagram grid, and I'll pop one on here so you can see what the dress looks like when you've played around with it a little bit and just changed a couple aspects of it, so it's got a different vibe about it. With my evening version, I've just done the sleeves in chiffon, and instead of doing a gathered bottom to the edge of the sleeve, what I've done is I put a cuff on, and I've just used a cuff from another blouse pattern that I've got, and I gathered the sleeve and just popped it into the cuff. So that was quite straightforward to manage. The hardest part of this sew, I would say, is the bodice. So again, it's not hard, it just takes time, and the more precise that you are with it and the slower that you do it and take your time, the better really with this, because it's lined with the same fabric, as you can see there. So all the pieces are the same, and the seams are on the inside on this curved seam here. So your princess seam, so you're wanting them to meet perfectly. If they don't, I can imagine you'd probably have, because they are left raw, those inside seams. So I think they could look a bit bumpy if you didn't get them perfect. And I don't know about you, but I could not live with that. So I spoke to a lady the other day actually who had taken the time to bind the seams on the inside somehow, and she said that she prefers to do it that way because it gives a really clean line. So I don't have a clue where to begin with that, but if you're a more seasoned sewist, I'm sure you'll know how to do it. And I think probably it would be a good idea, because the raw seams, I mean, I've made two versions, they're both absolutely fine, but it feels, I don't know, it just feels a little bit wrong putting these raw seams together. Yeah, again, just my opinion. The rest of the sew is really quite straightforward. You're just sewing these panels together. There's a split in the skirt which you won't be able to see from there, but it's sort of a thigh length split, so it's quite a high split, but obviously you could make that shorter if you wanted to. And it has a tie belt, so the belt ties at the back. On my most recent version, I changed that so both the ties come out of one side, and you can tie a bow on the front of the dress if you want to. You can still tie it on the back, and the picture that I've shown you, I have tied it on the back, but I just wanted to have that variation, so if I wanted to do a big oversized bow on the front, I could. So that's the Deer and Doe Magnolia dress. It's a great make. I'm looking forward to doing it in this shorter version here. I think that'll be really pretty for the summer. I don't know if you can see the sleeves there, but they are absolutely gorgeous little fluted sleeves. So I'm hoping to make that version pretty soon, so it's in my wardrobe ready for spring and summer. Absolutely great make. Deer and Doe guidance booklet is slightly different to the others that I've shown you so far. It comes in French and English. This is the French version, but you do get exactly the same in English as well. Two little books, but these are black and white. So there's that difference. However, I do find the instructions in Deer and Doe very easy to follow, so they're very thorough, and no stone is left unturned, so you won't struggle with that. Okay, right, I'm going to tell you all about my fourth make. I'm just going to change the mannequin. Okay, so my fourth favourite make across the last year is another Deer and Doe pattern. It's the Fumar skirt. As you see here, it's a full length maxi skirt. I haven't got it to show you here. I've actually got it printed on a PDF, and it's in a billion PDFs over under my stairs. So you can have it in, or you can make it in two versions. There's a button down front or a fly zip front, which is the one that I chose to make. The button one's really, really pretty as well. I think that would actually be really nice for the summer. This one here I made with kind of an autumnal vibe to it. You can see the fabric that I've used here from Sewalicious has got massive, great big giant floral print on it. You've got these pockets here as well, which just add to the detail. They look really cute. And it has an elasticated back, which is brilliant for the fit, because it just means that if it's too small, then you can pull those gathers a little bit tighter. And if it's too small, you can just not gather it quite so much. And if it's too big, then you can gather it a little bit tighter. As it happened, the skirt fit and it was absolutely fine, but there is quite a lot of scope to be able to, you know, fit the skirt with that elastic waist at the back. No issues making this skirt. This confused me, the fly front, but I had made a pair of jeans at that point. There are clearly more than sort of one or two ways to do that, and the way that the Deer and Doe guide explained it was very different to the closet case jeans. They were both quite separate, so I ended up sewing it the same way that I sewed the closet case jeans, so it was fine and it's in. And it just took a bit of time. I'm still not hugely confident with sewing fly fronts. It's something that I need to work on, but I did it. This skirt was on my make list from pretty much March last year when I started sewing. I went down to Lizzie's make and I saw it, and I've always loved like long dresses, long skirts, stuff like that. And I saw it and I thought, gosh, I hope I get to the point one day where I can make a skirt like that. It's just beautiful. And I got there. So I was really chuffed to be able to make it for my Sewalicious blog. So it was absolutely great. Like I say, not too many issues with the sew at all, just got a little bit confused around that, and that's purely down to lack of experience with fly fronts. Other than that, everything was plain sailing and I love it. I just love the fabric. It's really great. It's almost like a sateen. It's got like this sort of sheen to it, which you probably won't be able to see from there, but it has got a really nice sheen across the top of the fabric. It's beautiful. Make quite a nice evening skirt as well if you're going out. Anyway, that's that one. On to my final item that I'm proud of across the last year. Okay, so my final favourite make across the last year has to be the ginger jeans. So I decided at the tail end of last year that I definitely wanted to make jeans. Not because I want to make all of my jeans, it was more about the process. I wanted to understand how difficult jeans are to make, you know, what it takes, what the sort of technicalities are behind it, what you need to know to be able to sew jeans. So yes, it was an experience. I am someone who likes to sew quite quickly, I guess, in that if I start a project, if I leave it, it will just never get done. So I start and I make sure that I finish it within a couple of days normally. So with that in mind, these jeans took me 3 days to make. So that was from cutting out to sewing the pieces together and having the finished garment done. So 3 days. It wasn't a really hard sew, I wouldn't say. So it's quite hard to explain because it's obviously not easy, but it's more sort of like a series of steps, and there are lots of steps to get the jeans right. There's also a lot of top stitching, and it's contrast stitching. Well, it doesn't have to be obviously, but it shows it as contrast stitching, and I'm quite traditional. I quite like that on jeans. So I wanted to get that right, which means you really have to take your time because there is a lot of top stitching, lots and lots. This was my first ever fly front, so I was nervous. What I did when I got to that point was I watched a YouTube tutorial of a lady that had sewn the ginger jeans, and it was brilliant. She did it so well, so slowly, and explained it so brilliantly well that I found it okay. I just literally kept pausing her video and then doing that step on my jeans and then watching the next bit, because although I read it in the guide, I am so much more a visual learner. If I can see it being done, I get it. So quite often if I do get stuck on something, I will YouTube for a little bit of guidance. These are the jeans that I made. There they are in all their glory. So I made them out of a stretch denim. There we are. I'll put a picture up so you can see. And there's my little fly front. Look at that. I was so chuffed when I got that in. It was a big moment in my sewing journey so far. There we go. So it's got this little, I think it's called a shield or something on the back. But I was really, really chuffed to bits. So like I say, the thought behind sewing jeans was that I wanted to understand the process. I wanted to know what it felt like to put a pair of jeans together. Would I sew them again? No way, not in a million years. Well, I probably will now, but at the minute, maybe it's too soon to the last pair, I don't know. At the minute, it's not high on my make list. I get a lot more enjoyment out of sewing other things. This for me was kind of just understanding the process of making a pair of jeans. And I feel like I really get that now. Jeans take a lot of work. They take a lot of love, a lot of effort and a lot of time. They also take a lot of top stitching, and I like top stitching, but not to this degree, I don't think. So rightly or wrongly, again, it's just my opinion, but yes, these jeans may very well be a one-off. that's that. They're in my top 5 because, oh my gosh, the last stitch that went into them, I was elated. I was so happy and so proud. It was like a big sewing moment. So I'll just tell you a little bit about where I got the pattern from as well, because I really recommend this. I bought it as a kit from Sewisfaction. So I logged on and as my luck would have it, they'd sold out. So I just sent a little message and I think I probably got hold of Shiona or one of the ladies at Sewisfaction, who really kindly put together a kit for me and sent it out. It was brilliant. Okay, it arrived and if you are on Instagram, I did do a little sort of unboxing of it so you can see what's in the pack. But you get the denim, some interfacing, you get this pattern or a choice of a different type of jeans pattern. I think there's also 2 denim options as well, the indigo or black. You get all of the notions that you need, so your cottons, your button, the little studs, and rivets. You get everything that you need, which is fantastic. I think it cost about, it was my first order with Sewisfaction actually, so you get a 10% discount when you first order. So for me it cost me around £37 and I think ordinarily it's 40 to 45. So a really good value kit. The denim is high quality, it's lovely, and there was plenty of everything. So these little things here, don't even know what they're called. I think they're called rivets or something. You obviously don't have to use them on your jeans, but if you do, there are plenty to practice with in the kit. I don't think I had the right tools to put these on. I know, because I ended up using a frying pan to be able to put them on, and I'm pretty sure that's not part of the process. So I ended up Googling how to get these little beauts on, and there's a lot of banging and you need some metal. So it is doable at home. You can totally do it if you have, you know, a hammer and something metal to hit them in. But there are tools out there that make it all very much easier. I don't have them. But I got them on, they're all there, they haven't come off, they've been washed a dozen times. I accidentally put them through the tumble dryer and they're okay. So my gosh, I nearly cried when I saw them come out the tumble dryer, but they are fine. So that was very lucky indeed. I did obviously pre-wash my denim before I cut it. I also had some really good advice actually if you haven't sewn jeans before, because someone told me that you have to cut each leg, and it does tell you in the guide, but if you're not a good guide reader you need to know to cut each leg, so one up, one down, so they don't twist. So yes, I learnt that before I cut all my denim out, so that was lucky. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about my my 5 favourite makes across the last year. I have so enjoyed learning to sew. I hope that if you're a beginner just starting out on your journey, you can see what I've achieved across a year. It's not a long period of time. I obviously have put in a lot of hard work, time and effort, but this is completely doable. I'm very passionate about it, I guess. I love it, which helps. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed looking across these sort of my personal 5 favourite items. This little girl here, Bettine, she started the journey. So sentimental. I'll be hanging on to her forever, that's for sure. That's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you all for your support across the last year. I know I have bothered a lot of people over on Instagram for advice, a lot of people, and everyone has always been amazing. If you're part of the Instagram sewing community, you will absolutely know what I'm talking about. So thank you. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, there is a subscribe button below. I will also detail all of the makes that I've shown you here today, and I will list where I bought my fabric as well, and anybody else that I've mentioned in the video. Thanks again, take care everyone, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye!